Welcome. Thank you for joining for another episode of Mindfulness Moments. I'm going to draw a card and then talk about it. Today's card: we are vast. We are in the habit of identifying ourselves with our bodies. The idea that we are this body is deeply entrenched in us. But we are not just this body. We are much more than that. The idea that this body is me and I am this body is an idea we must get rid of. If we do not, we will suffer a great deal. We are life, and life is far vaster than this body, this concept, this mind. It's interesting that last week's card was about an ocean of suffering. This week's card is also mentions suffering. The Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths, and the first was that life is suffering. And many people kind of feel that Buddhism is a bit pessimistic, but it's actually realistic, because the second noble truth is the cause of suffering. And the cause of suffering is attachment to what's known as the five skandhas, the forms, the feelings, the perceptions, the mental formations. I'm sure you've heard or thought before that the term, my body is my temple, my body is my place. And we must care for these bodies. These bodies will enable us to sustain life, to gain our enlightenment, to gain our knowledge, our clarity, so that we can share it with others and we can help them to gain theirs. The concept of not being this body there's so much wrapped up in this. There is so much suffering that can be caused by attaching to this body. We tend to be very self-critical. When we look at photos of ourselves, we look in the mirror at the reflection of ourselves. We're not always happy with what we see. But that's surface. That's not who we are. That's not what we have to offer. Life is fleeting. Life is short. How long will we have this body? How long will we maintain it so that we can gain our enlightenment, we can gain our knowledge, we can see the truth and we can share it? If we attach to this, we attach to the idea that we are just this, and each year that we gain in life experience, we run the risk of becoming depressed, because we can no longer use this body the same way that we did when we were a child, when we were in our teens, when we were in our 20s. So what are we if we're not this body? Are we this mind? Are we this heart? We just are. We're not a separate self. We are interconnected self. Some spiritual traditions talk about spirit, higher self, divine. All these different words try to describe an experience, knowing the truth that we are a part of something greater, we are a part of something bigger. Through our meditation, through our coming back to our seated position, to our cushion, through following the breath, the in-breath and the out-breath, letting the thoughts come and go as they do, without attaching to any thought, without trying to judge. We'll just notice. We'll just notice that something greater is taking place. And of course, we'll be brought back to the reality of this body. Our knees may hurt, our lower back may hurt, our mind may start wandering. We want to try to control it. But when we can let this go, and we can see that we are part of something vast, something bigger, we hear the birds sing and we feel connected. We feel the cool breeze on our face and we feel connected. Our sufferings come from our attachments. Our sufferings come from trying to control things that are outside of our control. Our sufferings come from wanting something that we feel is of value that actually isn't of any value. All value is perceived value. When we are deeply connected with another, when we are deeply connected with higher self, with universal self, we know that nothing else matters. When we look in the eyes of another human being and we see their pure heart, we see their beauty, their inner beauty, this lack of connectedness, this lack of separation, this interconnectedness between us. We know that we are connected to something bigger. We are part of a vaster universe. So if we can let go of our attachments, we can come back to our breath and we can be in the moment. We can be with that person we're with. We can be with that flower. We can be with that piece of music. We can view that piece of art and feel connected. and we are doing what we need to do. We're doing what we're here to do. And we increase that moment by moment. And we share it where we can, when we can. We are vast. Thank you for tuning in each week. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Please click that like button, share, comment. It really helps the channel. I'll keep creating these. I'll keep sharing with you. If you have any questions, please ask.